Hey guys, it's Quasi here. This is going to be one of the craziest success stories you've probably ever seen. Today we have Dr. Eldred Taylor. Dr. Taylor is 65 years old. He's a longevity doctor. First of all, you're going to watch this interview and you're going to be shocked at how this guy is 65 because he truly practices what he preaches. He looks younger than me. Like, I've seen him in person. The guy looks fitter and younger than me. So I was shocked, and I know that what he's teaching works. But more importantly, Dr. Eldred Taylor's story is so inspiring. The change he's made in his life at 65 is unfathomable. And so many people have these limiting beliefs of, I'm too old to change anything. You know, my beliefs are too set in. Not this guy. He became a completely different person. As a result of it, he was able to fix his marriage. He was on the brink of divorce, because he'd lived a certain way his whole life, holding his emotions back. But then he has, when I met him and I spoke to him, he revealed how, since joining us in Reality Mastery, he's been able to be more open with his emotions and his feelings, and he's allowed himself to cry more. And as a result, he was able to connect with his wife more. And he started taking these trips. He went to Egypt when in the past he never would have. He always played comfortable, played safe, and his wife saw potential in him when he didn't see it himself. He kept himself stuck in his comfort zone, too afraid to take new risks and, take advantage of opportunities. And he has become a completely different person. So this is probably one of the craziest, most emotional interviews you're going to see this year. I highly, highly encourage you to watch it in full because he drops a lot of gems about the true secret to identity shifting. I haven't seen a real personal transformation like this in a very, very long time. So I truly hope you watch this in full, and I hope you enjoy this because I learned a lot from it.
I'll tell you what got me into reality mastery. A lot of things were going on. We were in a lawsuit with our neighbors. I was having some problems with my extended family, and I was frustrated. And one day we were going to the football game, and we were going to the professional football game, and we were in traffic. And my head was about to explode. I was so frustrated. And my wife said, "What is wrong with you?" She's like, "I can't be with you if you're going to stay like this." Now, we've been married 30 something years. And she was serious. She was like, "I can't be with you like this." I don't know how reality mastery came up on, how you go. I don't know how it
Your
came
feed,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it came up. And I clicked on it and I saw, maybe I saw one of Quasi's videos on YouTube. I clicked on it and it just grabbed me. And ever since then, my life has changed again. Okay. That identity shift and saying that you could be someone different immediately. The number one thing that really changed me is he's talking about getting over your biggest fear. So my biggest fear had always been the water. I love to look at the water, at the ocean, but I didn't want to go in it further than here. I didn't want to scuba. I didn't want to do anything. So I said, I'm going to take a scuba lesson. I told my wife, she said, what? What? Don't you want to go swim, take a swimming lesson first? No, I'm going to go in all the way. That liberated me like you can't believe. I tell you, and I put in the school group, I can't believe that I'm taking so much advice from some 20-year-old. I could be his grandfather, and he's taught me so much. I'm so excited. I'm like, how can I be this excited? I'm 65. Everybody's talking about, what they're gonna stop doing. And I'm like, I'm thinking about what I can do. And I told somebody I want to be the Colonel Sanders of medicine. He started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was 65. And I said, I want to be the LeBron James and the Tom Brady of medicine. I'm going to do this as long as physically possible and mentally possible. And I'm trying to make sure I'm physically, mentally, and spiritually strong enough to keep doing it for an extended period of time. So that's it. I'm so grateful for Quasi. I'm so grateful. I told you I can't talk too much about.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. This is really giving me goosebumps. It really is.
Give me a second, okay?
That's okay. That's okay.
I do this every time. My wife, she's like, my emotions they're on my sleeve. They're on my fingertips. I mean, my emotions are just raw. And we were on vacation, and somehow I was starting to talk about my dad, and I start crying. And my wife knows every time I start talking about him, I have to cut it off because I really feel his spirit embodies me. It really does.
Yes.
And you know, the thing is, I'm going a different direction, and I know what my family is going to say. They're going to think I'm dishonoring my father by saying I had to get away from religion. I know that. And that's why I've kind of had to cut off communication with them because I
Of
don't want
course.
them to, because they don't feel like I feel. And I think a lot of times you'll see, like in the Bible and other things, everybody thinks that the oldest child is the one. I'm the youngest, and I'm the one.
Yeah.
I'm the one to carry on his legacy. And let me tell you what my morning routine is.
Yeah.
I listen, I meditate, and then I listen to I Can See Clearly Now. So then the next song I listen to is Lovely Day by Bill Withers. The next song I listen to is Pavarotti and James Brown. They sing It's a Man's World. And you have to see the video, and you see the passion that those guys sing that song with. Fourth song I listen to is B.B. King singing A Thrill Is Gone. So A Lovely Day. And here's the other thing. All of those people are dead and gone, but they still are impacting lives. That's what I want. And that's why I'm wanting YouTube and all that stuff. James Brown, Pavra, all of them are dead, but they impact my life every morning. And that's what I said this morning, because I'm trying to get clearer and clearer and clearer about what I want. And that's what I want. And I want to use any medium possible that 50, 60 years from now, somebody can watch one of my YouTube videos and it impacts their life. Because that office I'm in is too confining for who I am now. I'm only seeing 10, 15 patients a day. And patients from 10, 15 years ago would say, Dr. Taylor, you don't know how you've impacted my life. And I'm like, wow, I need to do that on a bigger scale. And so that's my frustration now, is preparing myself to do it on a bigger scale. And that's why I'm on this mad rush to do it, because I have to leave that legacy, just like those guys, have left an impact on me, and they're gone, but in that quantum field, they're still there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They are. They're impacting tons and millions of lives, just like you will. And I feel like right now you have this overwhelming urge to leave this legacy, to leave this
Exactly.
legacy for all these people because of what you know, what you've realized in your life. And I think that's absolutely impactful. I think
Right.
that that's going to inspire so many people, just like this interview is going to inspire so many people as well, right? Just to listen to
Yeah.
the story, I'm getting inspired as well. I'm like literally forgetting all the questions that I'm gonna say, like I'm just listening. But what comes up to mind, like right now, is just like hearing your story, hearing your background, especially the point that you're at right now. It's like you discover reality mastery, right? You get into the program, you see the price, you join, whatever. But when you were signing up, did any initial doubts surge when you were like, oh, is this actually gonna work? Is this actually gonna be something that's gonna change my life? Or were you all in?
I was all in from the beginning. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know. I think my intuition just kicked in and said, I'm all in. And then, he talked about, in one of the exercises, that talk about write down all the things that you don't want, and then write down all the things that you do want. And so one of those is, I don't want to not finish this module. This mastery course. And then the things I do want is, I'm going to finish this and it's going to impact me. So that's what I focused on. And I get all of the negative stuff, write it down, get all of it out of the way. And I was like, I want to finish this course, and I want it to change me.
Yeah.
And what you focus on is what you're going to get more of. Yep. And so I'm focusing on changing, and I change more and more every day. So, my wife, and I told my wife, I said, we need to renew our vows. And I said, maybe we'll do it on our 40th anniversary. And we were sitting at the dinner table. This was like a week or two ago. And she said, we can renew our vows every day. And I said, you're right. I said, you know what? I said, because today I'm different than yesterday. So I have to renew my vow with the new you. And I don't have to wait till you're 40. And I said, so now we renew our vows every day, because we're both different people every day. And I told my wife, that's what better for worse is about. One day you might be better, the next day you might be worse, but I don't care. I'm still have vowed to love you. So that's why I'm telling you, my relationship is so much deeper with my wife. And we've been married 38 years. And I'm going to tell you, this has been the best 4 or 5 months of our 38-year life. And if my wife came in, she would tell you the same thing.
I know that. I know that for a fact now that you're saying all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like this is like so many changes that you're saying. Like first you conquered some fears, you went to Egypt, you did all of this type of stuff. But what I want to know is when you started the program, just like you're doing it, you're going through the questions that you mentioned, all
mhm.
of this. What was that first thing that gave you that click? That you were like, this switched my mindset. This was a big turning point for me, and I feel like this is gonna work.
Well, I did probably that vision board. My daughter
Okay.
had been talking about vision boards all the time.
She's
You
probably
should.
my age and does vision boards all of
Yeah,
the
she does.
time.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, vision board. Vision board. I guess I'm like, I got this far without a vision board. What I need a vision board for? So I made
Hmm.
that vision board, and it was like, put up there what you want, and don't
Yeah.
limit yourself. So that was the first thing, and I put up there. I saw these great speakers: Oprah Winfrey, Walter Cronkite, all that. So talking about great speakers. I'm like, I'm a great speaker. I'm gonna be up there one day. It's the one
Hmm.
with the longevity. And then it had uh, richest black families in the world. I'm like, I'm gonna be that. I put the
Yeah.
comedic spirituality up there. This is what I'm gonna learn. This was before we decided to go to Egypt. So it was probably
Hmm.
making that vision board. And then I put
Yeah.
somebody that was scuba diving and they were smiling. So I
Okay.
put that up there. And I'm like, I got to have in my picture that I have in my mind that I can have fun scuba diving. So,
Hmm.
and then I started making those things. I saw them start coming true, and the scuba thing was the most like I could do it right then. I'm going to go.
That was the Yeah, that was the first uncomfortable thing you did, correct? Like
Oh,
when you
oh.
were saying, yeah,
And then, he talked about doing something uncomfortable every day.
yeah,
And that's what I started doing, something uncomfortable. It was either saying something I don't usually say, doing something.
uh-huh.
And I got all the way to the end. You know what I do every morning and every evening now? Take a
What?
cold shower.
Wow. Just like Quasi.
I take a cold shower. It invigorates me. And at first I had to ease my way. Then he said, now I just jump right in the cold water. That's what I do. I jump right in. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes if I'm coming from the gym or whatever, I'm like, I gotta spend some time in here and wash up. So I'll make it a little bit warm so I can stay in there and all that. But then I always
Hmm.
end it cold. So
Yes.
I'm telling you, I'm like he says, find somebody you want to imitate and imitate them. You don't have to
Yeah.
copy them, but I take my cold shower. I do something uncomfortable every day. And so that's what got me. And all this, he says, whatever you do, try doing the opposite. That duality thing is nothing bad. It's nothing good. So I did. I was like, all the things I did, I'm gonna try and do the opposite.
Yeah.
I used to, let me tell you, when we were in Egypt, if somebody was within 5 feet of me, I struck up a conversation. And we met some
Wow.
great people. And I still do that. If I go anywhere, if somebody comes within 5 feet of me, I'm going to strike up a conversation.
And you weren't that way before, right? You
No,
weren't.
no, I wasn't going to start talking to people. But that has been one of the great things about the new me. I'm not afraid to start talking to anyone. And most of the time, I end up helping them, saying something that they're like, oh, they'll ask me what I do. And I kind of go through, oh, yeah, well, I've been looking for somebody. Can I? And so that's when I said, I got to have the school group. Because when I was over in Egypt we met somebody in Egypt and then we were in Jordan at the Dead Sea. We sat down and talked to them. And they were like, how can I come see you? I'm like, okay, that's a sign. And then,
It's magnetism. You're
yeah.
magnetizing people to you.
And then, I see on Quasi that he's got people from Germany and Australia. He's got people from all over the world. And I'm sitting here in this little bitty office in Atlanta, and I could help people everywhere, so
Yeah.
that's my goal is I want other people to see that at any stage in their life, they can become reignited. You can get reignited because everybody needs that spark to come back.
Yeah.
The spark at first was the books and speaking, and then that flame died out. And
Mhm.
and because I had more, it was frustrating. I didn't know why. And now it's reignited again, you know. And so what I did before, I would get up every morning and research so I could write those books. I do the same thing. I'm like, I've done this before, but now I have all these extra distribution channels that were
Yeah.
not available to me 20 years ago.
I,
So I'm taking this conscious business course. They're also in school, and
mhm.
it's a great course. And they're talking about quantum physics. They're doing all of this stuff, and I know you got to go because it's 11 o'clock. So we
No,
can.
it's okay. It's okay. I'm just here looking at.
Yeah. So I'm taking this conscious business course, and they're going to help me to develop funnels and all those kind of things that I don't know and I don't have time to learn. And
Mhm.
I paid a lot of money for that course, but I told my wife, I said, I'm about to spend a good little amount of money, but it's going to come back to us 100-fold. And I said, just trust me. And I'm going to tell you, before, my wife wouldn't have trusted me. She just said,
Right.
okay. She said, okay. She didn't ask me how much. I told her, look, it's going to come back to us 100-fold. And she trusts me. So she trusts the new me. She wouldn't have trusted the old me. She would have asked me 1,000 questions. What are you doing? I'm doing it. And I
Yeah.
told her, I said, you're going to benefit from this. I said, our whole family's going to benefit from this. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for us. That means my 2 kids. It's us. They don't have to even know about it. Other thing that I learned is when you're trying to do something, keep your mouth shut. Don't
Yeah.
talk about it too much. Okay. Just do it. Okay. So I'm telling you, okay. But I've learned to keep my mouth shut because you probably know this. They say when you start talking about it, you get that dopamine hit in your
You
brain.
get that dopamine hit. Exactly.
Yeah. And your brain says, oh, it's already done. I don't have to work on it anymore. No,
Delayed gratification. Delayed
yes.
gratification for later.
And I know that. And when you go to medical school and all that, you're programmed for delayed gratification. Okay. I spent a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
money. I spent a lot of money to go to school, hoping I'm going to get it later. So
Yeah.
I'm just doing it all over again. I'm spending money to go to school and I hope to benefit from it later. So I don't have any problem with delayed gratification. That's my
Mhm.
whole life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like recouping all the information here. So you've had amazing breakthroughs from first conquering your fear of scuba diving, of
Yeah.
water through scuba diving, taking
Right.
this spontaneous trip to Egypt that you told me about through the chats, and I
Yeah.
think you posted about it as well. And even launching the school group, it's called Ageless Blueprint,
Blueprint.
correct?
Right. Right.
And so, doing all of this, what have been your biggest tangible, I guess, results of achievement since joining the program? Like, you're doing all this stuff, you're doing all this program, and you see these breakthroughs that you told me about. You're getting through this new Eldred type of format. So,
Right.
what are these results looking like? How are they feeling like now that you are in this new identity?
Well, so in Ageless Blueprint, okay, what I'm looking at is when I went to Egypt, I saw that those hieroglyphics, they were beautiful, but they were
Mm-hmm.
really giving us a blueprint for life. They were telling us how nature works, how the spirit works. It was because now with the Rosetta Stone, they actually can interpret the hieroglyphics. And it's not just art. They're sending us a message. And the message is that you have to be in balance and harmony with nature and with the universe. And that provides you peace. When you're in peace, that's when you can create. That's when you can create. That's when you create your purpose. That's when you can create. And when you're living and creating your life and that creates longevity because you're going to be, do, and have. I know that you're going to be, do, and have exactly what you want. So if you want a long, vital life, you have to be in balance and harmony, have peace, and then that is going to provide the vitality that you need to live a long, prosperous life. And I tell people, you don't want to live longer when you're not in peace. You don't want to
Yeah.
live a long, miserable life. You want to have peace and then carry that into the future, not your present miserable life. Okay. And so that's what I didn't want to live that life with my wife. I wanted to
No.
live an exciting life with so longer having not being fulfilled is not living. So that's my thought process. And that's what that Egypt is like. That's been around for 10,000 years. And my 2 books are about balance and harmony. I didn't know it, my first book about are your hormones making you sick is about balancing hormones. Well, the
Hmm.
stress connection is about inner peace and harmony, because when you're under stress, you are not at peace, and the whole world is stressed.
Yeah.
The whole world is stressed. And so there is no peace because we are out of balance and we are stressed. So it makes us incoherent. Our brain and our heart are incoherent. And so the
Hmm.
whole world is in chaos. But you have to maintain your peace in the middle of chaos. I'll tell you, my brother, who's a doctor, and when I was in medical school, he was already established. He was 10 years older than me. He told me the key to being a good physician is when everything else is going crazy, you having a cold or there's an emergency, you have to stay in peace. He taught me that. And I became chief resident at Emory and OBGYN because I could stay in peace. Even if I had 3 C-sections that would land up in a row, I could stay calm. And when I was calm, I would make the right decision. And other people saw it. I didn't think it was anything, I didn't think I was anything special, but they made me chief resident
Hmm.
because I did not lose my cool when chaos broke out. And
Yeah.
that's what I have to do now, because the world is chaotic and I have to take myself away from that. That's why, like, I got rid of all these news apps. With if a news bulletin comes, I turn the TV off,
Hmm.
and now they talk about the stock market is down. I don't even want to hear it, okay? Because I don't need the money right now. When I need it, the stock market will be fine. I'm into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the future of money, and so that is where I'm. I tell people in Nasal Blueprint, I say, if you want to live longer, you better make sure your money is future money and not past money. So I don't want to get into a Bitcoin conversation, but that's So anyway, I've forgotten the question because I started getting off. But
No, that's completely fine. No, I'm
yeah.
listening to this. But what I'm hearing is this excitement, right? Like I feel like you shared as well that you'd never been this excited about your future before.
Oh
What
no.
what do you think that inside the program or whatever that you realized, what changed for you that created now this level of excitement and the surge of energy that I'm feeling right now on this call?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's the fact that I can create a new reality, and it won't take. It took me 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and 4 years of residency to become a doctor. But I can, and so that was me creating my reality and going through all of the steps. And the excitement is understanding quantum physics where you don't have to go through all the steps. You can change, and so that's where my excitement comes from. Is I'm thinking that if I got to go to school for, I'll be 80 years old if I have to do that in order to get what I want, it's impossible. I'm not, I can't do that. But this reality creation, I can do it like that. And then I can let it go. And I listened to what Quasi, he put out something yesterday about unattachment,
Yeah.
and that's what I am. I'm excited about the future, but I don't quite know how it's going to happen. I'm not worried about it. I'll do this interview today. We'll see what happens with that. I just got some email saying it's some kind of stress conference, and they said, we want to use your expertise and and I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. I was like, okay, I'm interested, give me more information. And that's what it's saying. It's just, I'm not really going out seeking stuff. I'm just sitting back and seeing what comes to me. When you guys asked me for an interview, I told my wife, I'm like, Quasi actually sent me a note. I said, they want to interview me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right. And I'm going to tell you, this is what I've learned also. I'm glad I didn't realize what time the interview was. I am better impromptu than I am trying to figure out what I'm
Scheduled.
going to say. Yeah, or prepare, because I tried my best not to prepare, but it was 10 o'clock and I'm like, oh, let me make sure that. And so I'm like, all right, I'm on.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an impromptu kind of guy. When I was developing my lectures to speak and all that stuff, my wife would want me to practice in front of her. I said I can't do it because I
Yeah.
said I
You're
have to.
one of those people. Yeah.
Yeah, I said I have to feel the room. I have to. I can speak to an audience and I can tell when they're with me. And I can tell when they're confused. And I can tell, okay, I got to explain this a little bit different. And every time I give the lecture, I get better because I learned how to explain it in a different way to a different group of people. So I would have my slides. I knew the points I would want to touch on. But then for some reason, I'd get a new way to explain it. And that's why I never wanted to be confined to a script, because I'm a in the moment kind of guy. And I'm even more like that now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Because
I
your
knew
emotions are flowing free. They're flowing
yeah.
completely free. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to, you know, it's me. I have to feel how you're accepting what I'm saying. And should I go on or should I shut up? You know, so and that's I feel like that's a gift I have. I can feel if the conversation is going well. And if it is, I'll keep going. If it isn't, I'll change the subject. Or if it's never gonna go well, I'm like, maybe this is
Yeah.
not for me. Okay. So, you know, so that's I feel like and I'm gonna tell you in my practice, me and my wife decided I'm only gonna see people who I connect with. Okay. Because
Wow.
I've found out that in a therapeutic relationship, if we can't connect, I can't help her. I can't help him or her. We have to trust each other and we have to respect each other. And in my practice, we respect our patients' time. We don't double book. If we have a schedule at 10 o'clock, we expect them to be there. If not, we're going to charge them. And if they don't respect our time, if we feel like if we respect your time, you should respect ours. We never want a patient to wait more than 5 or 10 minutes. Never.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody in my office, just me and my wife, because I don't want there to be any separation between me and my patient. I don't want the nurse to have a better relationship with my patient than I do.
Then you do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really into connections. And I tell patients, I'm in the state of my life, in the part of my life, I can be particular about who I see. I don't have to see anybody. And if I don't like you, I can't take care of you. You
Yeah.
know, you need to go find somebody you connect with, because I'm
Yeah. And
not
that's
the one.
real. It's
Yeah,
raw.
yeah, it is. And at first I couldn't say it because I need the money. I got to pay the
You were
bills.
stuck in fear. You
I
were
was stuck
stuck
in
in fear.
fear. Exactly. And so I had to suck it up and take. And another thing that I've learned, this new me, is that people will do what you will tolerate. And if you
Yeah.
tolerate it, they're going to keep doing it. If you stop tolerating it, either they're going to change or they got to go. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I've gotten much more definitive about who I am, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. And
You become clear. You have clarity now,
yeah,
which is huge. I always tell people clarity is usually the missing piece that people need, because once
yeah,
you have it, you're just going full throttle to where you want to go. So
yeah.
it's just that's what I can see in you. And something that I wanted to ask you as well is just like, with all the fear that you had before, through your bringing up, right, through your life, all these things,
Mhm.
fear that you had recently before you started the program, now that you've done it, now that you've learned more about how maybe Quasi operates or how we do things in the reality mastery program, what would your advice be to someone that was in your position before, that's stuck in fear, endless fear, maybe even religious fear? What would
Yeah.
you say to them?
Is that you can change in a moment. If you and I always tell people change when they decide to change. And I've also said you can't convert people who don't want to be converted. You know, you have to want it. So
Wow.
if you're in that position and you want something different and you want to be converted, then this can convert you. But if you don't want it, I can't I can't make you want it. You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's usually when change comes. And you know,
Yeah.
one thing I think one of the first videos I saw with Quasi, he was talking about how he talked to successful people and he thought they were going to be all frazzled and they were calm. And he said because they had a clear vision,
Exactly.
he said that's how they were calm. And he said, I know exactly where I'm going. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want to be successful and not be frazzled, because normally we think to be successful, I got to do all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And that's the only way I'm going to be successful. And I'm thinking at 64, I can't do, I can't be frazzled. I can't
Yeah.
be running around. I'm too old to be doing that. But he's like, no, when you're clear, you're
You're
calm,
relaxed.
you're relaxed. You're relaxed. And I'm like, okay, if I can do that, then I can do what I want to do. And so, yeah, I'm relaxed. And, you know, I'm relaxed talking to you. I have no fear. I'm not anxious. My heart's not beating fast. I am relaxed, you know. And
Yeah.
another thing, as he said, is like, okay, you learn to meditate, but live your life in a meditative state. And I was like, how do you do that? And now I know. I'm relaxed
Mhm.
in every situation. You know, I'm just, my wife can't believe it. I mean, I told my wife, because she was saying something about some money or whatever. I said, look, I don't worry about anything, nothing. I told her I'm anti-fragile, because that's another thing.
Yeah.
And I told her that, and she's like, wow, that's right. Nothing can break you. I'm like, nope. And so,
That's huge.
yeah, I
That's
said, nothing can
huge.
break you. So let me tell you, coming back from Egypt after missing 3 weeks out of my office, making
Hmm.
no money. And then in January, things were a little bit slow. Normally I'd be worried to death. I said, great, this is going to give me time to work on my projects. Okay, I don't have this busy schedule. I can work on my projects. I'm like, thank you, universe. And now this is like 4 or 5 weeks. I haven't made that much, but I have money. I just said, look, I got the money. Let me just go get the savings. I got the money, you know. So that's the difference. One, I never would have taken 3 weeks out. I come back, office slow. I hadn't been there for a while. Now the office is kicking back up, but I never worried. I never, ever worried. My wife was like, look at the schedule. I'm like, good. I can go, I can read this book. I can read this book. I can do this. And now it's March, schedule's right back where it was. I'm further along in this journey. It worked out perfectly. One other thing, it says you're free when you can look back at your past and be thankful for everything that happened. And
Absolutely.
one day I got that. I'm like, everything had to happen for me to be talking to you right now.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I wouldn't have anything to talk about.
exactly. Wouldn't be anything.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any breakthroughs or whatever. I'm like, everything had to happen for me to be on this interview right now. And that
Yeah.
he's right. That is so freeing. Is you have no regrets. You're thankful for every last day in your life.
Mhm.
I'm thankful that I got brought up in the church so that I could realize that there's a difference between religion and spirituality. If I was always raised with spirituality, I couldn't help anybody who was stuck in religion. You
Exactly.
know, so I'm like, that was so freeing. That's when I'm listening. Somebody said that's when you know you're free, when you are not regretting the past and you're not gonna let that past become your future. And that is that knowing that I'm in the present and I'm open to whatever life brings me.
Yeah.
So
That's
anyway,
beautiful.
yeah,
No, that like all of this is just like I'm just enticed by this interview. I'm just like listening to all of these things that I think people listening are also enticed by all this journey because from what I hear, it's just this person that was maybe stuck in fear, but still well established. Like nothing was going per se wrong,
bad.
right?
Yeah,
But there was
yeah.
something missing, like something missing in your soul. Your wife was telling you, which I think you should be really grateful to your wife for
Oh,
reminding you
oh
that
yes,
really constantly because she was that person there for you that believed in you even before you believed in yourself. Having
exactly.
that is amazing. And then you stumble upon this program, not really even knowing like much about it or just kind of getting into it, seeing what it's about, and it transforms your life. It transforms your life. It changes the way that you view things. It changes your fears. You actually do the practices, which is something that I always tell people that when they get in the first call, you have to do the things that are in. It's not going to work if you just read it and are like,
No,
oh, I got it, right? You would
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so
You
yeah, it's
got to do it.
completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to do the practices.
and that one thing about do something uncomfortable every day. Do something that you normally don't do. Expand your life.
Yes.
And that's, you know, I found out that little things that I say to my patients has a big impact on them. And I'm
Hmm.
sure Quasi doesn't understand. So he probably realizes some of the big things he says, but then some of the little things that will hit a particular person in a different way.
Yes.
And you know, that's kind of when when you go to church and you hear a sermon, some people will grasp onto one part of the sermon and like, oh gosh, he's talking about me. Another person will grab another piece. Oh God, he's talking about me. And that's what
Yeah.
that's
Just like
what,
with tarot.
yeah, yeah. And so it's like Quasi doesn't realize the little things that he says that one person takes and runs with it. And that's what I'm trying to realize, is that every word that comes out of my mouth, that if I'm doing it in love, it's going to affect somebody in a positive way. And
Yeah.
and that's what I'm being clear about, my intention, that any word I write, anything that comes out of my mouth is done in a positive way. And everything I say to my wife, I'm making sure that it's positive.
Mhm.
I don't utter anything negative. So but yeah, Quasi just needs to know that I am eternally grateful to all of you guys, because I mean, it's gonna make a difference in my kid's life. See, that's what he
It's
doesn't
gonna go
realize.
on for multiple
It's
generations.
going to go on for multiple generations. It really is. There's one little moment can change generations. In the Bible, it says if one person is righteous, they'll bless generations. And I feel like my dad, being that one righteous person, he's blessed all of us, and he's going to bless other generations. So
Yeah.
anyway, you got to go. You got other
Yeah, yeah, no, this
recordings.
is just the final part of the interview. My
Okay.
very last question for you is,
Okay.
after you've gone through this journey, you had these tools, you've done all these things that I mentioned before. There's people in here that are watching this interview. They might be on the fence about joining Reality Mastery, maybe feeling a little bit skeptical or unsure if it can actually really change their life, if they can actually be someone like you, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to those people?
If you want it, it'll work. If you don't really want it, you ought to not spend your money. You need to want, and you don't want people to join your program and not do it and then say it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Okay, so don't even apply. You need to really know, you need to feel like I will do anything to improve my future. Anything. I'll pay any amount of money. I'll do anything to change my present reality. And that's when you told me the price, I'm like, here's my credit card. I was at the point I will do anything to be able to create my future, because I don't want that future of my life doing this. So that was seeing my parents made me want to do anything. My dad died, I'm 64. My dad died in 69. And for 10 years before that, I mean, he was 69. He was 69. But for 10 years, he was on dialysis. He had prostate cancer. He had high blood pressure. He had all that. And I was like, I'm not going to end my life like that. I'm
Yeah.
just not. And whatever I have to do, I'm back going to the gym. I do yoga and stretching every morning. I'm like, I'm not, I want to be able, when I'm 95 years old, to walk with my grandchildren and go around the block. And I don't want to be in assisted living. And again, I'm not focusing on what I don't want. I'm focusing on what I want. And I'm taking the action steps to do it. Staying flexible, staying strong, eating right. I changed to a plant-based diet. I'm committed to it. And when I do something, I stay committed. And that reality mastery said, it taught me that if you want an outcome, stay committed to it. And I committed to it. I'm doing these other things. I'm going to commit to it. So yeah, if you're ready to make a commitment, this is a great commitment to make.
Amazing. But